Hi and welcome back to the Grow Old Disgracefully blog. Today we're talking about hysterectomies. I had a hysterectomy a couple of years ago and it's the best thing that I ever did. So you can read our article, the link is below, and you can find out about my story and any tips and things like that in the article. So the reason I had a hysterectomy, there was a couple of things. I had very heavy periods all through my life. I couldn't go on the pill because I take medication for another condition, and I went to the doctors in the end to have a coil fitted. And when I got there, she did an examination and she said, "Could you be pregnant?" And I said no, and she said, "Well, your womb is full, and the only reason for that would be pregnancy or fibroids." Fibroids are really quite common in women. Most women tend to get little ones that can be treated with keyhole surgery, or they leave it, like if a woman gets through her changes, sometimes the fibroid shrinks back down. But mine was the size of a grapefruit, and I just presumed over the last year that I'd maybe put a little bit of weight on because my tummy was protruding slightly. So I wasn't really aware that there was a problem and that there was something in my womb. Anyway, so I went and had tests done and they confirmed that it was a fibroid. So I had to wait 9 months to have the operation done. And when I did turn up to have it done the first time, I waited 8 hours with my gown on, and then the nurse came out and said, "I'm sorry, the operation's not going to go ahead." So then I had to wait, get another appointment, and then I had it done. So the symptoms I had before my hysterectomy was heavy periods, which I'd had all the time, and discomfort when having sex, and sometimes it bled a little bit, and swelling. And you wouldn't believe, in that 9 months waiting from when I first saw the specialist, how big the fibroid got. It was non-cancerous. They did a test on it and it was fine, but when I used to lay on my back, literally a lump used to stick out, and it was to the left side. It was really weird, so it was a little bit like being pregnant. So I couldn't wait to get it done. Went in for the operation, went really well. I've got like the scar of a C-section across the bottom of my tummy. Unfortunately, because the swelling was quite big, and there's the scar there, it has left quite a bit of loose skin, and there's a little bit of fat there as well. So that in the future I could consider having like a tummy tuck if I wanted to get rid of the skin, but basically it has left me with something that I don't like, which is a big scar across the bottom of my tummy, and then it's like a step with sort of the skin there. But you know, it depends what your priorities are. I'd much rather have that than be poorly for the rest of my life. So physically, the changes it made was just the big scar, but I've been in the sun since, and it's gone a nice golden colour. Mentally, it was fantastic with regards to how I felt physically in my body. So I wasn't getting heavy periods. I could have sex without getting pregnant. I just felt fit. Psychologically, I did have a little bit of a struggle. So they left one ovary in there and they took everything else out. So I didn't go into the changes. I didn't, you know, need HRT or anything. Well, I can't take that anyway because of other medication I'm on. So I haven't actually gone through a change, and potentially I won't. However, for some reason, and it could be the hormone related things, I did go through a psychological battle where things used to annoy me a little bit more than normal, and then I went through a phase of just not wanting to get up in the morning, just like, and I don't know why. I mean, I wasn't very happy in the relationship I was in, but it was just really bizarre. In my head I was just like, I really can't be bothered now, which was silly because I was getting into a really good place physically, but it was just something that was a little bit out of my control, and I recovered really well physically, so I didn't need to go back to hospital with regards to the operation. But I chose to go and see my doctor and mention, because I was crying on and off as well, and mentioned to them what had happened. And basically they referred me to, on the NHS you can talk to somebody, and we talked through things, and it was just having that little bit of support, and them telling me that it is normal to feel like that, and then telling me how to deal with situations when I was getting upset, when it was a little bit irrational or illogical, and it really helped. So I would say hysterectomy was the best thing I ever did. Physically, the only thing it's left me with is the scar and that little wedge of skin. And then mentally, I had a few challenges, but I got over them with the help of the NHS. You just go and ask them, and they're really lovely. The hospital visit was so funny. So on the ward, you had women that were either pregnant and were having trouble keeping the baby in, or miscarriages or hysterectomies for whatever reason. It could be cancer or what was wrong with me. But the mix of people on the ward was absolutely hilarious. And I have to say, the hospital treated me so well. And again, it was really eye-opening. It was a wonderful experience, actually, sort of female bonding, because we were all going through this same thing. So the process of having it done was very comfortable. I healed really quickly, mainly because I listened to everything they told me to do. They said, do not lift anything for 6 weeks. Do not do anything energetic for 6 weeks. And then let us know if you feel poorly or anything like that, or if there's weeping from the scar. Otherwise, then continue. So after 6 weeks, I did exactly what they said. One day I watched the whole series of Lord of the Rings. I just did things that I never do, which is just sit still and read. So I healed really, really well, and I was so pleased with myself. And now I don't get a period. I don't get mood swings, not hormonal mood swings, or tears or anything like that. It's just totally changed my life. And to be honest, I can even have sex in a car if I want to, and I won't get pregnant. So that's great. However, there is a flip side. So one of my friends had hysterectomy, and she had it for many reasons. She'd had cancer, breast cancer, and she was concerned that the cancer might spread, and they discussed it with her, and she'd been poorly anyway with her periods, so they agreed that they would take that out, take the womb away, and she had the keyhole surgery. So they took it away, and psychologically it was very challenging for her, and emotionally, and she did suffer, and she did say to me she wished she'd never had it done. Now, I haven't spoken to her for quite a while about it, and she seems a much happier person. So I think it was just a temporary thing. After having the operation done, having gone through cancer years previous, and I think it was a psychological thing, but I don't want you to think everything is rosy for everybody after having a hysterectomy. She struggled, but I think that she's fine now, because she always seems really sort of perky and everything now. So I had a really good experience. It was the right thing for me. She really struggled, but I'm sure it was the right thing for her. And it's just great for me, because I'm 49 and a lot of my friends are younger than me, and bless them, they still have their periods, and like they can't go cycling because of what happens when you have a period. And to be perfectly honest with you, my sex life has never been so good. Sometimes apparently you can dry up and you lose your sex drive, but mine is getting steadily higher. In fact, I don't know how it can possibly get higher, but it is since my operation, and it's great. So I recommend it if you have physical reason to have it done. It's done me the world of good, but talk to people and contact me if you want to talk about it. Anyway, take care. It's nice to speak to you, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye.